You are not chasing your future. You are reconnecting with a reality that already exists. What you call tomorrow is not something that is waiting to be created. It is a version of life that already exists, and your only purpose is to shift into the state of being that matches it. Time may appear to move forward, but in truth, you are moving through different states of awareness that are already complete. Good evening, my friends. Before we continue, I want you to pause and consider a question that may completely change the way you see your existence. Where are you right now in relation to time? You might say, I am here on this day, at this hour, in this moment. But look deeper. Where exactly is that day? Where is that hour? Can you reach out and touch them? Can you point to the exact location where yesterday exists? Not the memory of yesterday, but yesterday itself, the actual moment that passed. Can you find it somewhere outside of your own awareness? And what about tomorrow? Not your plans, not your expectations, not your imagination of what may happen, but the actual future itself. Where is it located? The truth is, you cannot find it, because the past and the future do not exist as separate places waiting somewhere outside of you. They exist through your awareness, through your thoughts, your memories, and your imagination. Everything you experience happens within the one place that is always available to you, the eternal present moment. This is not just a spiritual idea or a philosophical concept. It is one of the most powerful and practical understandings you can apply to your life. Because if all experiences exist within this present awareness, if the past and future are simply different movements of consciousness, then your desire is not something that is far away, waiting for you at some distant point in time. Your desire already exists. The question is not whether it can arrive someday. The real question is whether you can enter the state of consciousness where it is already experienced. A man once came to me after a lecture. He was frustrated and exhausted because he had been practicing these principles for years. For 3 years he had imagined his desired outcome, felt the emotions of already having it, and remained committed to the practice. Yet when he looked at his physical circumstances, nothing seemed to change. He asked, if time is not what we think it is, then why does it feel like I have been waiting for so long? The answer became clear immediately. His challenge was not his effort. His challenge was his assumption. He believed he was trying to pull something from the future into the present. He believed his desire was somewhere ahead of him, separated by distance and time, and that his imagination was simply a tool to bring it closer. But when you believe something is far away, you create the experience of waiting. You remain in the identity of someone who does not have it yet. I told him, you are not creating something that does not exist. You are becoming aware of something that already exists within consciousness. Your desire is not waiting for a future moment to become real. It already exists in the timeless part of your awareness. Your role is not to force it into existence. Your role is to align yourself with the version of reality where it is already true. He looked at his imagination differently after that. He stopped seeing his vision as a wish for something that might happen someday. Instead, he began experiencing it as a memory of something already accomplished. Not as hope, as knowing. Not as a possibility, as a reality already accepted within his consciousness. And something changed. A few weeks later, the desire he had been trying to reach for so long appeared naturally in his life. When he described the experience, he said something remarkable. It did not feel like something new came into my life. It felt like something I already knew was finally revealed. And that is the deeper truth. What appears as a manifestation is often not something arriving from outside of you. It is a state of consciousness becoming visible in your physical experience. To understand this, we must look at time differently. Most people see time as a straight line. They imagine the past behind them, the present beneath their feet, and the future somewhere ahead. They believe the past is permanently gone and the future does not exist yet. Only this current moment feels real. And on a practical level, we experience life this way. Days pass, events unfold, our bodies grow older. Moments appear to come and go. But the experience of time moving in a straight line may not represent the complete nature of reality. Imagine a movie reel. When you watch a film, it appears as a moving story. One scene follows another. The characters seem to travel through time. But the entire movie already exists on the reel at once. The first scene, the middle scene, and the final scene are all present together. The viewer simply experiences each frame one after another. The frames are not being created as you watch them. They already exist. Your awareness is simply moving through them, giving you the experience of a sequence. Life can be understood in a similar way. Every possibility, every version of yourself, every state you could become exists within the infinite field of consciousness. The experience of time is the movement of your awareness through these different states. You are not waiting for your future self to be created. You are choosing which version of yourself you become aware of. Your future is not something you have to chase. It is something you align with. The story of a film has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Yet, all of those moments already exist together inside one physical object. The entire story is complete before anyone ever watches it. When you sit down to watch the movie, you experience it one frame at a time. One scene follows another. The characters appear to move through time. Events seem to unfold naturally, creating the feeling of cause and effect. But the truth is, the entire movie was already there. Every frame existed before you pressed play. The ending was already contained within the beginning. The movie is complete before the experience of watching it ever starts. Your life can be understood in the same way. Every moment you have experienced and every moment you will experience exists within the infinite field of consciousness. Just as every frame of a film exists together on the reel, every possible version of your life exists within the greater reality of awareness. What you call the present moment is simply the place where your attention is currently focused. It is the frame you are experiencing right now, the part of reality that your consciousness is illuminating. But the other frames are still there. The version of you who has already achieved your dream, the version of you who lives in peace, abundance, love, and fulfillment. That reality is not waiting somewhere in the future to be created. It already exists. Your desire is not a distant destination that time must eventually deliver to you. It exists in another state of consciousness that you can begin to access now. The process is not about waiting longer. It is not about forcing circumstances to change. It is about shifting your awareness toward the reality that already matches what you desire. I remember a woman who had spent 15 years living with a husband struggling with alcoholism. When she came to me, she was no longer asking how to change her situation. She had already endured enough pain to understand how difficult it was. Her question was deeper. She wanted to know if there was a way forward without abandoning the person she loved or losing herself by staying. I told her something that may have seemed impossible at first. Your mind is focused on what can change in the timeline you see before you. But the deeper question is this: can you move your awareness toward the version of your husband that already exists beyond this current state? The version who is healthy, the version who is present, the version who is loving, supportive, and fully connected with you. She looked at me as though I had not understood what she was saying, so I explained further. Right now, within the eternal present moment, there exists a version of your husband who is not controlled by addiction. There exists a version of your relationship that is peaceful, loving, and harmonious. These are not merely future possibilities waiting to happen. They exist as realities within consciousness beyond ordinary ideas of time. She replied, "But those things have never happened." I answered, "They have happened within the dimension of consciousness where all possibilities exist. They are not something you need to create from nothing. They are something you can become aware of. Instead of reaching for them as a hope for tomorrow, begin accepting them as a truth that already exists." At first, she was doubtful. She had been carrying years of disappointment and pain, but she decided to try. Every night, she entered the feeling of a loving and peaceful marriage. She did not imagine it as something she was desperately waiting for. She experienced it as something already real. She remembered the feeling of being loved. She remembered conversations filled with understanding. She remembered the natural ease of sharing life with someone who was fully present and emotionally available. Even though these experiences had not appeared in her physical reality yet, she entered the consciousness of them as though they were already known. And slowly, something began to transform. The first change was not in her husband. The first change happened within her. The way she saw him changed. The way she responded changed. The emotional state she carried into each interaction changed. She stopped reacting only to the person standing in front of her in that moment. She began connecting with the deeper version of him that she held within her awareness. She responded from love instead of fear. She treated him with the respect and warmth of someone who could see beyond his current struggles and recognize the possibility of who he could become. He began noticing changes within 3 months. His drinking started to decrease, and within 6 months, he had completely stopped. The man she had been holding in her consciousness, the version she had connected with beyond her current circumstances, began appearing in her physical reality. But did she change the past? Did she force the future into existence? No. She simply moved her awareness toward a version of reality that already existed and allowed herself to experience it instead of endlessly waiting for it to arrive. Now let me share another story about a man who used this understanding to heal something that many people would consider impossible to heal. He was an elderly man who carried a deep pain within him. For the final 20 years of his father's life, they had been separated emotionally, and his father passed away before they ever had the chance to reconcile. For years, he carried the weight of that unfinished relationship. The pain was not only about what happened, but about what would never happen. The conversation that would never take place, the apology that would never be spoken, the love that would never be openly expressed. He believed it was too late. He said to me, "The past cannot be changed." I told him, "The past exists within your awareness right now, just as vividly as the present moment does. In the eternal dimension of consciousness, your relationship with your father is not frozen. The possibility of reconciliation still exists, not as an event waiting in the future, but as a reality you can access by shifting your attention." He began returning to the memory, not the painful memory created by the events of linear time, but the memory of the relationship that existed beyond those limitations. He imagined the conversation they never had, a conversation where he expressed everything he had carried inside, where his father listened, understood, and responded with the love that had always existed beneath the pain and misunderstanding. He imagined them embracing, not as two people trapped by old wounds, but as two souls finally recognizing the love that had always been there. He made these experiences vivid. He entered them completely. Every night, he returned to this reality within his consciousness, and something unexpected began to happen. The memories of his actual past started to transform. Moments he had once viewed as proof of his father's coldness began revealing deeper layers of understanding. He started seeing his father differently. He began recognizing the struggles, fears, and hidden love that had existed beneath the surface all along. He gained a new perspective on his father's life and understood things he had never been able to see from his previous state of awareness. Then, 6 months later, while going through old family documents, he discovered something extraordinary. He found letters his father had written but never sent. Letters expressing feelings that were almost exactly the same as the words he had imagined during those inner conversations. The love had always existed. The regret had always existed. The desire for connection had always existed. He had not created something imaginary. He had shifted his awareness to a deeper level of truth where something that was already there became visible. This is how consciousness moves beyond ordinary ideas of time, not by rewriting what happened, but by revealing a greater truth that was always present beneath the surface. Now let me share the practical application of this understanding, because many of you may be asking, how do I actually live this way? There are 3 powerful practices that help you begin experiencing life from the perspective of eternity. The first is eternal thinking. Most people think through the language of linear time. I hope this happens. I am afraid this might happen. I wish the past had been different. Every thought focused on future uncertainty or past regret reinforces the belief that what you desire is somewhere outside of your present experience. Eternal thinking works differently. This already exists. This is already complete. This is already true in the dimension where creation begins. This is not about forcing yourself to believe something through empty repetition. It is about recognizing a reality that already exists within the timeless field of consciousness. When you shift your desire from future expectation into present recognition, you completely transform the state you create from. And the state you create from is everything. The second practice is developing flexibility with time. Most people become trapped inside one version of reality, the version confirmed by their current circumstances. But you can learn to move your awareness between different possibilities. When your body appears unhealthy, you can access the state of yourself as healthy and whole, not as a desperate fantasy, but as a reality that exists within consciousness. When your financial situation appears limited, you can connect with the version of yourself who already experiences security and abundance, not as wishful thinking, but as recognition of another possible state. When a relationship feels distant or broken, you can move your attention toward the version where harmony, love, and understanding already exist. Through practice, you become someone who is no longer completely controlled by appearances. You learn to move your awareness with intention, just as a skilled musician moves through a beautiful piece of music, fully present, yet consciously choosing where to place attention. The third practice is eternal memory. This may be the most powerful and unusual practice of all. You begin remembering not only what happened in your physical timeline, but what already exists within the timeless dimension of consciousness. You remember the fulfilled desire. You remember the healed relationship. You remember the healthy body. You remember the abundant life. These memories are powerful because all memories are experiences happening within the present moment. The idea that something is past is created by the linear mind. Within the eternal now, the memory of your fulfilled desire and the memory of an ordinary childhood moment are both equally present experiences within consciousness. Your subconscious mind does not measure reality the way your logical mind does. It does not attach the same importance to timestamps or separate experiences into what is possible and impossible. It accepts what you repeatedly impress upon it. When you consistently remember your desire as already fulfilled, your subconscious begins accepting that reality as a fact. And from that accepted reality, it begins organizing your thoughts, emotions, actions, and experiences to reflect the state you have chosen. Let me address a question that naturally arises when you begin practicing this way of thinking. If I spend my time experiencing the memory of a fulfilled desire, am I ignoring my responsibilities? Am I escaping from the reality in front of me? No. And understanding the difference is extremely important. Living from eternity does not mean abandoning the physical world. It does not mean avoiding your responsibilities or pretending that challenges do not exist. You still show up for your commitments. You still handle your daily tasks. You still communicate with people, pay your bills, and participate fully in life. The difference is the place within yourself from which you operate. Most people move through life from a position of fear and limitation. They are constantly worried about what might happen next. They carry the weight of past experiences and allow yesterday's events to define today's possibilities. But when you begin living from the eternal perspective, you move from a different center. You act from the calm certainty of someone who understands that solutions already exist within consciousness. You recognize that the reality where your desire is fulfilled is not something you have to chase endlessly. It is a state that is always available within you. The eternal present does not only contain your current circumstances, it also contains the answer. It contains the healed version of the situation, the fulfilled version of the desire, and the possibility of a different experience. From this state, you make clearer decisions. You notice opportunities that fear prevented you from seeing. You bring a different energy into conversations, relationships, and actions. You become more effective in the physical world because you are no longer controlled by anxiety about the physical world. This is not escaping reality. This is using consciousness correctly. It is the ability to understand that circumstances are not the ultimate source of your experience. Your inner state is the foundation from which your outer world begins to reflect. I once knew a young man who dreamed of becoming a doctor. According to his circumstances, it seemed almost impossible. Every medical school he applied to rejected him. His grades were not perfect. His scores were not considered exceptional. If someone looked only at his current timeline, they would have concluded that becoming a doctor was not realistic. But I told him to stop thinking only from the perspective of temporary conditions and begin thinking from the perspective of eternity. Within consciousness, there already existed a moment where he received his acceptance letter. There already existed a moment where he stood wearing his medical coat. There already existed a moment where he helped his first patient. Those moments were not imaginary possibilities waiting to be created. They represented a state of being that he could begin embodying now. He stopped seeing these experiences as distant events that he had to desperately hope for. Instead, he began living from the identity of the person who already belonged to that reality. He thought like a doctor. He carried himself like a doctor. He approached his studies and his daily life from the consciousness of someone who already knew who he was becoming. He was not pretending. He was not forcing an image. He was expressing an inner truth that already existed within him. Eventually, the external world began reflecting the internal shift that had already taken place. He became a doctor not because he forced life to obey him through struggle, but because he stopped waiting for time to give him permission to become what he already recognized himself to be. So remember this, your desire is not somewhere far away in the future. It exists now within the dimension of consciousness beyond the limitations of ordinary time. The moment you experience the desire, the possibility of its fulfillment existed with it. Desire and fulfillment are not separated by years, circumstances, or distance. They are separated only by where you place your attention. You have spent so much time reaching towards something you believed was ahead of you, when in reality, it has always been within you. It is not something that must slowly arrive through endless waiting. It is something you access through a change in awareness. Stop experiencing your desire as something that is coming. Begin remembering it as something that, within the only reality where creation truly begins, has already been fulfilled. Choose the state you want to inhabit. Return to the reality you wish to experience. Live from the version of yourself who already knows the outcome is complete. Not with desperation, not with force, but with the quiet confidence of someone who understands that what is true within consciousness eventually finds its reflection in experience. Time is not your master. It is simply a tool through which consciousness reveals what has already been accepted within. You are not merely moving through moments. You are consciousness itself, timeless, present, and eternal, directing attention through different experiences to discover what has always existed within you. Choose carefully what you give your attention to. Choose the reality you continue to remember, because the eternal now already contains everything you have ever desired. So tonight I invite you to stop seeing your life as a journey towards something you do not have, and begin recognizing that the peace, confidence, success, and fulfillment you seek are not waiting for you in some distant future. Stop placing your happiness somewhere ahead of you. Stop believing that life will finally begin only after the right person arrives, the right opportunity appears, the right amount of money is earned, or the right circumstances finally unfold. The version of you that you desire to become is not a stranger you must chase through time. That version already exists within consciousness. The confident you, the peaceful you, the successful you, the loved and fulfilled you. These are not distant identities reserved for another day. They are states of being already available the moment you choose to align your attention with them. Your external world may not immediately reflect the shift within you, but remember that the physical world is often the final expression of a change that has already taken place internally. A seed does not become a tree the moment it is planted. There is a period where the unseen work is happening beneath the surface. And in the same way, when you change your inner state, you begin a process of transformation that may not be visible immediately, but is already unfolding. Do not return to doubt simply because appearances have not caught up yet. Do not abandon the reality you have chosen because the old version of life is still showing itself. The old circumstances are only echoes of previous states of consciousness, reflections of where your attention has been, not limitations on where your awareness can go. Every moment, you have the power to choose again. You can continue identifying with the story of what has happened, or you can enter the awareness of what is already possible. You can continue asking, when will it happen? Or you can begin living from the deeper understanding, it is already done within me. The greatest transformation happens when you no longer need evidence before you believe, when you no longer depend on the outside world to tell you who you are, and when your inner knowing becomes stronger than temporary appearances. This is the secret of living beyond ordinary time. You are not trying to become someone else, you are remembering who you truly are. You are not creating a future from nothing, you are allowing a reality that already exists within you to become expressed. The eternal now is not empty. It contains every possibility, every solution, every version of yourself that you could ever become. And the only question is, which reality will you give your attention to? Which version of yourself will you continue to remember? Because wherever your attention goes, your consciousness follows. And wherever consciousness consistently rests, life begins to reflect. So choose wisely. Return again and again to the state of fulfillment. Think from the place of completion. Feel from the place of already having received. Move through the world as someone who knows that what belongs to them cannot be lost. You are not a victim waiting for time to decide your destiny. You are the awareness experiencing time. You are the creator of the state from which your reality unfolds. The future you desire is not ahead of you, it is within you. And in this eternal moment, it has always been waiting for you to remember.